It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here this morning. I'm sorry. I just one story that we did not cover this week, and I want to make sure that people understand that there are so many stories that sometimes we have to go in what we view as the matter of importance in a story. For example, this story that seemed to come out of nowhere this week, the allegation that Hitler and Jeffrey Epstein had, let me be very sensitive here, microgenitals. I don't know where the story came from. I don't know why I included the two. By the way, Hitler does not refer to Trump or any other Republican.
Right.
And so I'm just scanning stuff. And at the New York Post, what is a micropenis? That's the headline right before I was coming on the air that I saw. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I think we all know, and then we can just move on from there.
Exactly. There's not really a lot that I felt that we had to say on this topic earlier this week, which is why we didn't bring it up. But we did notice that it was out there.
Yeah.
You couldn't miss the story.
Well, you barely noticed.
Barely, yes.
As the case may be.
Well, by the time we got to Thursday, it petered out. So
yeah. It was barely noticeable.
Yes. Barely noticeable. This
I'm sure they both had their shortcomings.
Yes. Yeah. I agree with it. Now, the only thing I thought of, we could make a couple of Seinfeld references, but we won't.
The water was cold.
The water.
Yeah. Maybe that whole ice bath thing started way back when.
I was in the pool.
I don't know.
I was in the pool.
Yeah.
But on a more serious note, I woke up to this one. So again, just no official announcement. Number of media was reporting it. In fact, it came out earlier today as secret negotiations on the Wall Street Journal came out and said Trump administration pushes new plan for ending Ukraine war. The 28-point proposal drafted by some of the president's closest aides is likely to face strong opposition from Ukraine and probably from a significant portion of Congress, too.
Yeah.
And, they you have seen things like where they plan to promote it and say, well, we've taken the framework from Israel, except for the one thing here is it seems like everything that I've read so far is a capitulation to Putin.
Right.
Now, there was a story out yesterday, I forgot who had it, that said the intelligence sources say Putin can't end the war unless he can show that he gets exactly what he wants in this peace deal. Otherwise, he cannot survive in office without it.
Right. This would be an end to his power.
Right.
If he gets anything else but what he wants.
If they were talking about what they were in the beginning, that there really wasn't going to be, remember the president saying, well, remember when he said, well, Ukraine can get some of their territory, a
swap, yeah.
A swap. Russia territory back, that's gone.
Right, yeah.
The peacekeeping force, gone.
Mm-hmm.
Consultation with any European nations. Remember the president saying, Europe, you have to handle it.
Yeah.
Europe,
Yeah.
not involved in it at all.
Right.
Ukraine, not involved in these negotiations at all. It was only Putin's people and Marco Rubio and Kushner and Whitaker.
Witkoff.
What did I say? Witkoff, yes. And you and I asked a question the other day. It's been awfully quiet on that front, but you can. I guess you can make the argument. Again, it's early. I don't know what's true in this, and like I said, this is just. Because when I got up and got in here, I've just been doing all the different reading on all the different articles on it over the last couple of hours here in the last 20 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like everything that the president was talking about earlier, what he wanted, the goals, none of them are here.
Right.
It was, let's see, it's likely to run into strong opposition from European governments and Ukraine. President Trump supports the new plan, which materializes after he told aides to craft new proposals that includes incentives for the two sides to reach a deal. To catalyze the agreement, Washington is counting on Russia's desire for revived economic relations with the West and Ukraine's need for reconstruction funds. Let me just get here. The U.S. officials familiar with the proposal said it calls for Ukraine to hand over all of the eastern Donbas region to Russia, included land that Ukraine now controls. Ukraine would have to agree to at least for several years to abandon joining NATO. Ukraine would not be permitted to have an international peacekeeping force inside the country. Ukraine and European nations have seen such a force as vital to deter future Russian attacks after the peace settlement is agreed upon. In fact, Trump was actually talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, he was actually, at first, he was hinting that United States forces might be a part of that peacekeeping effort.
Right.
And then he said, no, but we would support the peacekeeping effort.
Right.
He had to back off on that one. In return, Moscow would promise not to attack Ukraine or other countries in Europe, according to officials, and would codify that promise in legislation.
Well,
elements of the proposal track what Putin offered during the August meetings with Witkoff. Remember, they had the summit where Trump walked away,
mm-hmm.
and he was furious. And they say it's basically, again, these are reports. Nothing is official from the White House yet. But what I've seen so far covered is this is basically the plan that Putin offered him that he out and outright rejected in Alaska.
Right. Well, and the promise not to do any further invasions. I don't care if it's done through legislation. It means nothing coming from Vladimir Putin. Because you give him this inch, and it's a lot more than an inch, he'll take a mile. He'll take all the miles he wants.
The plan reverses a position Ukraine and U.S. allies have pressed Trump to adopt, that Ukraine should not be forced to hand over any territory unilaterally that its forces now control. And look, it was Trump who laid out. We just said yesterday that, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens after we looked at the Saudi Arabia deal and just went, whoa, if you saw the Fox News poll, you see that Trump on foreign relations through the roof, the
mm-hmm.
numbers,
mm-hmm.
absolutely through the roof.
Right.
Other things not so much, which means the public is actually paying attention to that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go by what Trump has said he wanted back a couple of months ago, and then his mood when he left Alaska at that point, what he was hinting he wanted at that time is not the case. And when you look at it, if the story was true that came out yesterday, that Putin needs something like this or he can't remain in power, well, that's a thing that members of Congress are going to pick up upon and say, you had the chance to keep these negotiations going and hold on to what you believe, and Putin might have been out of power. And the response might be, yeah, but you wouldn't like what's coming next. And so, again, we'll wait till we get an official release from the White House on this. Analysts say that forcing Ukraine to withdraw from Donbass, where it has mounted its greatest resistance to Russian advances and still holds strategically important defensive positions, would make it easier for Kremlin's forces to push into other regions of the country. The Trump administration, these are the sources inside the Trump administration, has not clarified what guarantees the U.S. and its allies would provide Ukraine, which, by the way, is extremely important.
Well,
you can't even make a judgment of everything that we see here unless we know what these security agreements are with the United States with Ukraine.
Well, at Axios, they're saying it is in exchange for U.S. security guarantee for Ukraine and Europe against future Russian aggression. Well, what exactly does that look like?
Right.
Because it sounds like to me then that guarantee could include boots on the ground. I don't know. What does it include? The details matter here. What are you talking about? And at the end of it, do you really expect Zelensky to just hand over everything?
It said proponents, this is another decent point, though. Proponents of the U.S. proposal say Russia's steady but incremental gains on the battlefield and the corruption scandal involving associates of Zelensky will add pressure for Zelensky to make a deal, but that assumption was challenged by one Western official who said that Zelensky has even less room to maneuver as a result of a corruption probe and that backing away from his country's fundamental security positions would only further erode his standing at homes. European allies have been caught off guard by the reports of the plan. Because this is the point that we're talking. These negotiations have basically been going on in secret, but Trump has pounded the fact over and over again that this isn't supposed to be a deal between the United States and Russia.
Right.
And this is where he wants the European Union to be involved in it to take care of part of their security, but the United States would be involved in guidance and would give strong opinions on what they want and would not want. Well, Europe has been cut out of this completely. Ukraine has been cut out of the negotiations completely. It's been Russia and the United States. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're sending very conflicting messages at that point, and Trump has not done that. And again, we don't have the official announcement, but Trump has not done that in the Middle East at all. He's made it absolutely clear. Now, this is a different situation, as we know.
Yeah.
Every situation is different, but again, what Trump had indicated he wanted just a few months ago does not, according to these reports, and you had the Wall Street Journal, Politico, Axios, and a number, National Review, and a lot of, National Review was actually quoting the other publications, all with basically the same story.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And knowing what the president has said and indicated what he wanted does not seem to be part of this deal. But the new news is the fact that, and like I said, the story came out yesterday, that Putin will not negotiate for a peace deal unless he can present to his country that they got something out of this, that they can't be punished, that they have to come out with something that he can take back, to the Communist Party and say, we got Donbass. There is no international peacekeeping force. Here are the things that we got here. And, it might not be enough, but the fact is he cannot. What Trump was proposing, the story was indicating, Putin can't accept because he believes he'll be out of office, because the public would be furious and the Communist Party would be furious if he walked away and actually was punished for invading Ukraine, if it was viewed as a punishment, the final negotiation.
Right.
Wow. Well, we'll see.
I don't know how you get Ukraine to the table on this deal.
I don't know how you get the European Union.
Yeah. But on Capitol Hill, it seems to be a non-starter. They were taken by surprise. Lindsey Graham, well, I hadn't heard of the plan, but I guess it's good that they have a plan. I think that was tongue-in-cheek. And you're not going to – that's the problem here. This isn't a peace deal for the sake of a peace deal that hands basically a victory to Vladimir Putin. To me, would be a non-starter to the rest of the world.
Now, the reason that it's different when you look at the difference in it is you can kill members of Hamas. You can go and you can destroy Iran's nuclear program. You can bankrupt Iran. You can do a ton of things. You can't do the same things. You can't use that same force. And Putin knows it, and everyone knows it. And so but the problem is the administration gave hope to Ukraine and the European Union that they could do the negotiations, they would be a part of the negotiations, and the president had certain standards that he wanted, and those don't seem to be met in all these reports that are out so far.
Right. Yeah.
We are Red Eye Radio.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at J.J. Keller. At a roadside inspection, inspectors may ask to see supporting documents. The document generated or received by a motor carrier in the normal course of business that can be used by law enforcement to verify a driver's logs. These documents can include bills of lading, itineraries, schedules, or equivalent documents that indicate the origin and destination of each trip. They can also include dispatch or trip records, expense receipts related to on-duty/not driving periods, electronic mobile communication transmitted through a fleet management system, and payroll records, settlement sheets, or equivalent documents that indicate payment to a driver. Drivers using paper logs must also keep toll receipts. Supporting documents must contain the driver's name, carrier-assigned identification number, or vehicle unit number that can be linked to the driver, the date, the name of the nearest city, town, or village, and the time. This tip was brought to you by J.J. Keller & Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here this morning. Coming up here on the show, yesterday I'd said that when it comes to there are two things that I've never been able to understand legally, and one is as we talked about, redistricting, and we went into that, the whole Texas redistricting, and I still believe that the Supreme Court will allow what Texas has done. But I've never understood it because it's become so political since the beginning of the country. We went through it point by point. If you imagine what it was like when the Founding Fathers were setting it up in congressional districts, you didn't have the partisanship that you had.
Yeah.
And we talked about how districts were probably set up, which were the same amount of population, but the same geographic area, because if you're in the same geographical area, you probably experience the same type of problems, which would need a response from the federal government through federal representation. The other thing is monopolies. And you saw the FTC backed off on, or a judge ruled, the Federal Trade Commission going after Meta for being, remember, a monopoly?
Right.
Lost the case.
Catch Red Eye Radio live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Yeah, so talking about yesterday the lawsuit of the federal government against Facebook, in essence, for being a monopoly, and this goes all the way back to the end of the last Trump administration, then continued all the way through the Biden administration. Remember, both sides, both Republicans and Democrats, were looking at Facebook. And remember when this all started, because of how slanted they were, and the Republicans were furious because of the censoring that was going on in social media, and Democrats don't like huge companies. Right. And when you had Meta take over Instagram and WhatsApp, that's where they said, okay, that violates antitrust laws because you're eliminating potential competitors. Now, the judge in this case was Boasberg.
Oh, yeah.
The judge is Boasberg.
Yeah.
Right. But when you actually look at it and the analysis, and this is where I look at it and I say, when you look at what is a monopoly, I look at it and, they mention in here, if the consumer is harmed in some way because of it, if you can see some type of price fixing or something like that, but it's like that doesn't exist here. And it said that in the 89-page ruling Tuesday, smacking down the FTC's arguments, the judge explained how Meta worked to make Instagram and WhatsApp successful by improving their design and increasing their revenue, that actually when they took them over, they were nothing at that point. They were not profitable. Mm-hmm. They didn't take over a profitable entity that was competing with them. And they said the landscape that existed only 5 years ago when the Federal Trade Commission brought this antitrust suit has changed in a huge way. Meta put an emphasis on short videos called Reels to compete with TikTok and YouTube. Most time spent on Facebook and Instagram is now watching videos. The judge says Meta has been forced to evolve in response to competition, increasing smartphone usage and a massive leap in AI-powered algorithms, yet Washington's antitrust regulators haven't adjusted their approach amid these mammoth technological innovations and movements in a totally dynamic market. To argue that basically Facebook Meta is monopolistic, because that would include Instagram and WhatsApp, the FTC claimed TikTok, YouTube, Reddit, and X are not real competitors. As a judge puts it, the FTC continues to insist that Meta competes with the same old rivals it has for the last decade, that the company holds a monopoly among the small set, and that it maintained that the monopoly through anti-competitive acquisitions. The court disagreed on all counts, citing evidence presented this spring that Meta competes with TikTok and YouTube. When YouTube suffered an outage in 2018, usage of Facebook went up, and vice versa when Facebook went dark in 2021. As the judge says, the companies compete fiercely for users' time and attention. Whether social media is a social good is a different question, which is not addressed by antitrust enforcement. The FTC also cited Meta's enormous profits to suggest it is monopolistic, but as the judge said, profits can be a result of shrewd management, exceptional efficiency, booming demand, or risky investments that hit big. The FTC could not point to price increases as evidence of monopoly power. So it claimed that Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp had degraded its app quality. The record, however, shows the opposite. The apps have continuously improved because the contest for attention of Internet users has forced Meta to involve gobs of cash to keep up. And so that's when I look at it, that's what drives me crazy. What actually makes the judgment of a monopoly? And I've been blunt about this probably for 30 years. The two things I've never really understood is how you figure out whether a congressional district is truly, legal or not, and when it comes to monopolies. And this really started way back with Microsoft.
Mm-hmm. Right.
where I could never get a handle. It was almost like, it's almost for me like doing calculus. I can go through the process of it, but I don't understand it.
Well, it's I don't think we'll ever get to a clear legal definition of monopoly, and I think that's because I don't think you can make it. I don't think there's anything today that could stand as an example. There might be something in the future, but I don't know what that would be. The point being is that there is such a wide open. It really has to do with the internet. A wide open global competition on every level for, in this case, social media. Well, my gosh, you're going to try and make the case that Meta has has the monopoly when, if you've seen, remember the whole virtual thing that they wanted to do, the weird cartoon thing, and investors went, oh my gosh, they ran from that. And
I forgot about
that. It was horrible.
That I'll never forget. I came in one day, and you were just like, "Did you see it? Did you actually look at it?" Oh, you were great that day.
It was a very cartoonish approach, literally, to something that nobody was wanting, trying to fulfill a demand that didn't exist, trying to, I guess, create a demand for it. And Zuckerberg wanted you to believe that people would sit around with these virtual goggles on in a virtual boardroom meeting for work. That wasn't going to happen. Look, people use the whatever application, Microsoft Teams or Zoom or a number of online applications for meeting in person. Putting on this weird set of goggles to make you look like a cartoon and give yourself an avatar was just bizarre. It was childlike. And it came from, I think, the gaming mindset, thinking that it would translate into the business world. Gaming, make no mistake, is big business. But you're not going, that's just not going to, because people start creating weird avatars. Can you imagine what they would end up with? Hey, Bob, are you a dragon today? Yes, I'm a dragon. Would you use your real voice and not the dragon voice? Oh, okay. I mean, just imagine, it was just this weird, bizarre mindset that Zuckerberg thought everybody wanted, that there was a demand for it. Well, that tells you right now they don't have the ability to, at any point as a company, if led by him, constitute anything that is even close to a monopoly, because the ideas are all over the place. And they mentioned here in the defense saying, look at all the money we have to throw at this technology all the time. Now, they've thrown some really bad money at stuff like what I just mentioned. But a lot of it has to do with keeping up with trends on, like, YouTube crushes it. They crush it because people just flock there. Years ago, I remember, it was probably about the time we started together, maybe right after that. And YouTube, people really didn't know about it. I mean, we talked about it. It was kind of in the news. Nobody really used YouTube. And they said at the time, YouTube will be the TV of the future. And I laughed and said, no, it won't. And yes, it is.
And now we pay them not to see their commercials.
It's the only thing I believe that's worth paying for.
I know.
In that regard.
I agree with you.
Because my phone service provider pays for Netflix. And if not for the true crime documentaries on Netflix, quite frankly, I would never turn Netflix on. There are very few things on there that interest me at all.
But you could make it's not a probably not a legal argument, but it's an emotional argument you could make. And I say this because I look at YouTube and I'm like, well, nobody's competing with them and doing exactly what they do, because Facebook isn't necessarily isn't YouTube.
No.
They have videos, and so does X,
but it's much more sluggish. Its algorithm is sluggish. It you can't, unless you were to go in and basically duplicate YouTube's algorithm.
Right.
You know, a friend of mine, in fact, was working on a Netflix movie, and he said it's the first time he had heard it. He's an old school Hollywood stuntman, and they told him, "We're not." This is a big, high level production starring Ryan Gosling. Big deal, you know. And they were in a break. He was sitting there talking to executives from Netflix, and they said, "We're not a movie studio. We're an algorithm company," which is really what they all are. And I would say when it comes to Facebook, their algorithm is stifled, and to a large extent, that's by design, which boggles my mind. They throttle things down for whatever reason, and I've just lost all interest in Facebook.
Well,
Instagram really never caught on with me.
Yeah.
It's, I see why people do it. It's their thing. They put up the reels. They put up which are the videos. They put up the pictures and everything else, and they tell their story through that. And I get it. I don't. The Facebook thing is far too sluggish because it just feels like I'm flipping through somebody's family album, which is kind of what it's become.
Right.
And what a lot of people like about it. For me, it's too sluggish.
You know what I go to Facebook mostly for? My friends that are huge sports fans, that get so angry, and, they're people I've known for years, and they just rant and rave after their team loses. And I get such a kick out of it. And I'll respond to them a little bit, just jokingly, because they get so angry and I'm entertained by it. But I notice that it's only the people that I communicate. Most of the people of my friends, I don't see.
Yeah.
I don't get to see them.
Right.
YouTube's a completely different animal. I can put in and get whatever I want, and I'm looking for. One of the best things I love is just putting it like in random shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of things came up yesterday. I was like, wow, this is great. But it's not X and Instagram. The only reason I'm on Instagram is because my great-nephew, posts some of his basketball stuff. But Instagram was shocking. This goes back, I don't know, I've been on maybe for 2 years after I was on for a year, because you get all these bots, that are follow you.
Mm-hmm.
And to show that they're listening and they know my age and they know a bunch of stuff. So I hit search, and all I get are these mini videos of women in their 50s and 60s in very skimpy bikini with huge manufactured breasts.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I did it, I went, oh, my gosh, am I like that Democrat congressman that got caught? People would say you're looking at porn. No, I just went to Instagram for the search feature to search a friend, and that's what comes up.
Yeah, it's a weird algorithm.
It really is.
It's really strange.
But that's the thing. I feel like I don't have control of it.
Right.
Instagram.
Well,
when I and same with Facebook, it's like what they get. YouTube, I get what I want when I want it almost immediately.
And almost to a fault. I watch one video on camping, all of a sudden, boom, my algorithm's flooded with, hey, you want to see this camping video? And it's like, slow down. It's okay. Not everyone. I don't want to watch everyone right now. Slow it down.
We are Red Eye Radio.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. You brought up a good point when we talked about, what defines a monopoly today, especially when so much of the antitrust laws are laws from 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago.
Right, yeah.
And you look at the information society we're in today, and you say, does any of it apply?
Well, because the competition is not you're not, especially with any of these tech companies. It is no longer a competition within the U.S. When in Europe, when they've gone after tech companies, you're too big. We need to split you up, and we need to break up these companies and everything else. But these are global companies, and the question is, all right, what is too big, right? And how many of them are there? There are new social media companies that come about every several years. They may be smaller, but who knows how long Facebook will be around. It won't be forever.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Hi, good morning. Well, we know what the Democrats' new strategy is. We've got two examples of it. First off, when you had Jasmine Crockett come out and talk about that these people took donations from a Jeffrey Epstein. And she said, I didn't say the Jeffrey Epstein. I said a Jeffrey Epstein. Well, if you didn't know if it was the same person.
Right. Why would you bring it up?
You're implying what you're doing is you're trying to imply that they took money from Jeffrey Epstein, Lee Zeldin in particular, when he didn't, and you're trying to cover yourself. You're doing the most irresponsible thing by trying to tie somebody into a sexual predator and then trying to CYA by saying, well, I said it was a Jeffrey Epstein. Well, nobody cares if it's a Jeffrey Epstein. It's only if it's the Jeffrey Epstein. And if you don't know it, you don't say it.
Right, because here's, again, further proof that they don't care about the truth.
No.
She may have known by the time she said it wasn't the right Jeffrey. It wasn't that Jeffrey Epstein. Doesn't matter. Say it. Let the headlines grab it and let people believe it, which is also lying.
And then you had also the 5 Democratic members of Congress come out and tell troops, do not follow illegal orders from Donald Trump. And everybody's like, referring to what? Well, referring to nothing.
Yeah.
Because none of them had any specifics whatsoever. You had Representative Jason Crow, who was on with Martha McCallum. Listen to this, because this is fascinating. But this is a new thing. Just throw stuff out there, imply he's doing something wrong, and then say, well, no, but we're not implying anything wrong. Well, then why are you saying it?
Right.
Well, because he might do something wrong. We're just giving a general thing to troops out there. No, you're not. You're trying to tell the American public that Trump is violating the law somehow.
Right.
Here's how this went.
You're not talking about actual policy. You're not talking about things that are members of our service members who we revere and respect are actually being asked to do. So when you see this video on all over the place, when you see this video on social media, I think a lot of people scratch their heads and they say, what exactly are they talking about? Are they talking about
Martha,
not allowing gunboats to make it to the United States carrying drugs?
No.
Is that what you're talking about?
Martha, here's a novel idea. How about we actually prevent things from happening before they become a problem?
I think that's what they're trying to do.
What you're saying is we have to wait until there's a problem to respond to that problem.
No, I'm not.
Right? As a military officer, what I think is important is we train.
Wait a minute. There is no problem. Did you hear what he just said there? I want to play that again because this is incredible. Let's just play it again. Here we go.
To make it to the United States carrying drugs?
No.
Is that what you're talking about?
Martha, here's a novel idea. How about we actually prevent things from happening before they become a problem?
I think that's what they're trying to do.
What you're saying is we have to wait until there's a problem to respond to that problem.
No, I'm not.
respond to what problem? You just said there's not a problem.
Right.
I mean, these people are just, it's all innuendo now. It's like we can't win on this. Let's just start pounding with innuendos that we can't back up with anything, but let's just throw out the innuendos, even though we've got nothing solid. Let's continue this. Here we go.
Right. As a military officer, what I think is important is we train people, we give them information, we prepare people for challenges coming down the pike. That is what I did as a commander in the military. That's what I'm doing now. As we are standing by our troops, we are reminding them of their obligation.
Order from the commander-in-chief that we are asking our military to carry out are you objecting to? This is very, very vague. And it was so vague in this video, I don't think people could figure out what you guys were all talking about, honestly.
Martha, Donald Trump has made a series of very disturbing comments and suggestions that would violate U.S. law and put our military in terrible positions.
Again, we're getting nowhere because you're not talking about an order.
I don't want to wait until that happens to remind our troops of their obligation, because then it will be too late. We are standing by our troops and our amazing men and women in uniform to remind them
who sign up every day as you did to carry out the orders of the commander-in-chief. We are not engaged in new wars. We have no troops on the ground in Ukraine except some who were training pilot missions, not on any front lines of any kind. In the Caribbean right now, we've sent a carrier there. I thought these were the specific operations that are actually happening that.
And so there's where that went. It's like, are you talking about something else? And then they sit back going, well, no, we're just giving a generality that the troops shouldn't do it. No, you're not.
No.
We know exactly what you're doing. We're not idiots. We understand. But I just noticed that the same thing that Jasmine Crockett was doing is what they're doing. And as soon as you see it twice, you go, all right, the talking points are out there.
Right. Well, throw these vague things, almost direct accusations out. And then when you're called on it, well, I didn't accuse anyone directly. That's their game now, which is weak. Why can't you own it? Come out specifically and say what you are against. Yeah. Make the accusations when you actually have something. In the case of Jasmine Crockett, she had nothing. It was a lie. It was a lie she wanted to tell anyway. Whether she knew it was a lie or not, she either didn't do her homework and failed drastically, or she knew it was a lie and said it anyway. Just wanted people to believe that Lee Zeldin took money from Jeffrey Epstein. That Jeffrey Epstein. But this is, again, the weakness of the left. When you built everything in a delusional state, when you built your entire agenda in a delusional state, point to anything in their agenda and tell me, I'll tell you everything that's delusional about it. A man could be a woman. The earth is melting. The seas are boiling. The seas are rising. Right now, just as I said that,
wait a minute.
There was thunder
There
overhead.
was thunder. I mean,
thunder.
The thunder was so big we could hear it through our headphones.
Yeah. Don't know if the audience can hear it, but we can hear it. We're going through a thunderstorm right now. Right when I said that. But that's what they want you to believe. All of these delusional statements that they have made in order to control your life more and more and try and defeat the opposition. If you can't do it on merits, on the facts, on the truth, then you can't do it. Go down another road. There's the thunder again. I'm going to keep doing this. Man,
let's get off.
I'm feeling like I'm powerful
we
right now.
We need to get off the climate change and horrible thunderstorms.
Yeah.
But then again, what we're hearing outside our studio is the beginning of the Ice Age. Because remember, that's the last one from last week.
Yeah, from last week is that the new Ice Age is going to begin.
Yes. because of climate change.
That's right. And we all know that's garbage. Dang it, I was hoping thunder would hit right then. I'd do my Stephen A. Smith in the drive-thru impression. Number 3, Diet Coke. Boom, thunder.
But I noticed that when I went, wait a minute, same thing that's happened within 24 hours. There are, when it comes to what the Democrats do, when you have a number of them all do it within 24 hours, there are no coincidences.
No.
Here. None.
No.
It's all right, innuendo. We've got nothing. We've got to take it. We believe that we might have a small advantage on innuendo, so let's just continue it.
Right. Well, if we could just make people believe. Look, go back to the Russian hoax. They can orchestrate. They believe they can orchestrate anything. Well, you need the Clinton machine in that case to orchestrate it, but it was all orchestrated. And I really think that the party, I'm wondering if the party right now is losing that sense of power, the Democratic Party, because, Hillary really isn't that active at all. Occasionally she shows up on MS Now or MS Then or MS Once Was. And she's really not in the arena otherwise. And she was in 2016. That was so almost 10 years ago.
Even Chris Cillizza, not a Republican, said to Jasmine Crockett, saying, no, I was saying A. And he writes, this is ridiculous. She clearly meant to insinuate that the donations were from that Jeffrey Epstein. Why can no one say I was wrong and I am sorry anymore? Because it's Trump.
Because it's Trump. And you throw anything and everything at Trump and his party. And it doesn't, if they don't care about the truth, then why would they care about something like this? There's not going to be any, there's really no real backlash for her on this. No real damage comes her way from lying.
No, it doesn't. And that would be the answer to Chris Cillizza. There is no accountability for what they do.
Right. So they don't care about lying.
She's still going to represent me in Congress.
That's right.
By 3.5 blocks. I added a half yesterday when I actually looked at the map. And it was so funny because I was talking to one of my buddies over the weekend. He goes, I heard you on the you're not Jasmine Crockett is from Texas. Nobody can believe she represents a district in Texas. And then when I tell them she's my representative, they think they're hearing it wrong. And they go, and by how many? I said, well, I'll send you the map. And I send them the map, where I live and where the line is. And when I looked at it, I went, oh, there's a little cul-de-sac in there. So it doesn't go all the way through. So it's 3.5 streets.
Yeah.
So I'm about 1,000 feet inside of her district right now. Now, does she stay? Oh, Supreme Court, you've got, this is about me now. You got to make sure that you overturn the ruling that was made and you approve all the new districts in Texas. I cannot stay in her district. I'm going to have to move 3 blocks.
What if they come in and say, no, it's fine. The lower court's ruling stays.
Well, I am one of her. Well, then I can call her when she's asking questions.
Yeah, right.
Just like Plaskett did with Epstein.
Right.
By the way, I'm not implying I'm Epstein. But I can call her and say, this is what you should be doing. You take my, if Plaskett, you see Plaskett, I think it was CNN, confronted, said, well, I was we were texting. He texted me, and they said you texted him first. Oh my gosh, that was great!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But will I be able to do with Jasmine Crockett that I get to text her? Hey, that's an idiotic statement. Are you completely and totally clueless? Do you have any idea how economics runs? And then she'd be up there saying, I'm reading this from a constituent. You're a moron. Do you know what you're doing there? Oh, we're not going to go to that one.
Yeah, I'm guessing she probably won't read those. It's funny. I really do believe that the party has to be concerned right now with this new group of leadership. Mamdani, Jasmine Crockett, AOC, because the party did rely on the kind of Clinton-esque things that were done to get real things done. Think about that. Biden was a part of that too. But Clinton, even Obama, a big part of that, think of the FBI being set up at Twitter back in the day and having the influence that they did over social media in general, even well into Trump's first term. Think about all of that influence that they had and putting those things into places, all of the individual people that were part of the agenda that were assigned to jobs that didn't require Senate confirmation. It's legendary now. Mm-hmm. And I think the party has to be concerned that the new group doesn't think that way. The new group is only in it for me. Where there was a great deal of, we'll use the word, collusion with the old school Democrats and making things work all the way through using the deep state and everything within their power that they could, even outside of their power, and abusing that power. And I'm wondering if the Democratic Party is worried about that these young, so-called young leaders are just too shallow and only think about themselves and not the good of the party long term. And how to actually be evil.
Yeah, but those that are concerned are soon going to be gone.
Yeah, they will be. I think David Hogg is going to be leadership of the Democratic Party at some point. He'll be back.
We are Red Eye Radio.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
Getting an early start to Thanksgiving travel, say this coming weekend, USDA meteorologist Brad Rippey gives a weather preview for the pre-Thanksgiving weekend. Starting with
some storminess starting to increase across the Pacific Northwest as we move into that weekend before Thanksgiving. So some of those airports in the Northwest, like Seattle, Portland, for example, will be seeing an increase in stormy conditions.
With perhaps the only other weather system of note, November 22nd and 23rd.
Some storminess emerging from Mexico and the desert Southwest. That should lead to an increase in rainfall across Texas and eventually elsewhere in the south central United States. Could become heavy. We could even see some locally severe thunderstorms.
And other than those two regions of the country,
just about everybody else is looking like mild and dry conditions should prevail during that weekend before Thanksgiving.
I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. All right, here's Representative Stacey Plaskett from the Virgin Islands on CNN. All right, here we go. Right.
But like many constituents, individuals get your phone number, they text you about issues, they speak with you. I have spoken with him about issues that are relevant, things that are going on in the Virgin Islands and elsewhere around the country.
Right, but on that day that we're talking about, you initiated the text exchange at 7:55 in the morning. So why were you even texting with Epstein at the time? He was a known sex offender then.
Sure. I explained to people I've been a prosecutor for many years. And there are a lot of people who have information that are not your friends, that you use to get information for, to get.
You're not going to win that. You're just not going to win it. Stop it.
No.
Advice, shut up.
Yeah, stop talking about
Say
it.
it was a long time ago. I shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
It was 2019. I shouldn't have done it. It's like,
And leave it.
It's like.
And let that be your
Yes.
answer the one or two times it comes up, and then be done with it.
Yeah, you can't win that one.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. All right, this audio comes from CNN, and Kevin O'Leary is on it, and they're talking about the Epstein case. And he basically says, and we know this came up, right after, the vote to open up the government.
Mm-hmm.
The Epstein thing got pounded on. He just said, he's just like, the American public doesn't give a damn about this. It's all the media is talking about. It's not all we're talking about. He goes, it's all the media talking about it. They don't give a damn. Here's this back and forth. Here we go.
I would love for them to release the files. I am not at all in Trump's base. However, I care deeply about it because I'm not going to buy this argument that like these young girls were raped by what? That did they rape themselves? No, they got raped by people who are in powerful positions, and I want to know how many of those individuals are currently serving in our government in some role or the other.
American awake for 18 hours a day. How many minutes do you think they spend worrying about this stuff? Maybe they were raped, maybe they weren't. This is not what American families give a damn about.
Just to be clear,
they just don't.
We do know that there were victims, so that's not speculative.
We do know that there were victims. And the thing is, people can compartmentalize, right? And the reason why people care about this a lot, not just because of the very real Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking and the crimes that were committed, it is the fact that Donald Trump himself spent years, him and his allies, promised their base, we are going to deliver the Epstein client list that's going to take down all of your Democratic enemies.
Bring it.
Yeah, well, yes, bring it. Donald,
poop.
please. Donald,
Nobody gives a poop.
You don't give a poop, okay?
The
Other
polling
people
indicates-
do, including people like me who want justice. And I want to know how many of those people are in our government.
I
don't know about
poop
that.
about this.
To show
Yeah,
something.
the polls.
All right. I don't think it's that people don't give a poop about it. I think it's that people don't believe anything is going to be done about it. And there's a difference. When there's a lack of confidence in the justice system, and you can call it a populist or maybe conspiracy theory realm type attitude that, well, so many people were involved, no justice will ever be done. That's in play. That's very much in play. But there's also, for everyday people, the reason they look at it and maybe don't give the attention that it deserves in order to get justice for victims here is because they don't have confidence that our justice system will, under any president, will do anything about it. We saw the previous administration did nothing. Now the president signed the Epstein bill, and it orders the DOJ to do something, but we were told the DOJ did do something, and they came to us earlier this year and said, we found nothing.
The public believes, and I don't know what the Democrats believe, because the Democrats didn't care that this was not released in the 4 years during the Biden administration. The Democratic voter didn't care.
The rank and file, yeah.
The rank and file Democrat voter didn't care. Independents and Republicans did. There was the politics of it, and the politics was Trump, and it is true, Trump in his campaign, it was out there. We're going to release it because there's a bunch of Democrats that were on this list and are on the island. That's what they were implying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why when they took office and were out there with these folders, you had a significant portion of the support for Trump, part of MAGA, ecstatic about it. And then furious 12 hours later when absolutely no news was there. And then the Justice Department and the FBI came out and said, well, there's nothing there.
Right.
There's nothing there. And to the point even this week where Trump was talking about the fact that these people got money, you need to investigate Clinton, and these are the people. And Bondi, by the way, I mean, the stuff she I wouldn't keep her as Attorney General if it was me, by the way.
Yeah, right.
I'd fired her already. I mean, this whole thing, which is going on about the Comey thing and how bad this thing has been run, and then that the final version of the indictment, the grand jury didn't see.
How does that happen?
You're fired. You're gone.
Yeah. How does that even happen?
That to me is incredible incompetence. But then, for her to say with Kash Patel, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. And then Trump comes out this week and says, you need to be prosecuting these people. Oh, yeah, we got our best person on it. Well, then were you BSing earlier?
Or did you not have your best person on it before?
Right. And that's a great point. So MAGA's furious of it. The Democrats don't want it released, but the fact is they're the ones that brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
After the Democrats brought it up and Republicans went, let's do it. And now the concern about innocent people that are named in there who have nothing to do with it, that's been thrown out the window because the Democrats never cared about it to begin with. And then they got caught, with, oh, wait a minute. You've got, especially with Lawrence Summers on there, part of the Obama administration and the Biden economic advisor and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden they're like, but okay, I guess we got to do it now. After they put out, what was the one thing they put out last week? They put out one thing last week, and then the Republicans released 20,000 pages of it. What was the one thing they put out last week?
On Summers?
No, before Summers. Before the Summers thing came out. Democrats released something that was focusing on a Republican. I just got mind blank here as to what that was. Yeah. And then that started off the entire thing, and then the Republicans released the 20,000, which Summers was a part of. And then, boom. But then you had the Republicans, we're going to release it. Well, we can't release it. Well, we're going to release it. Well, here we are. We got it now. There it is. Well, they didn't release anything. And MAGA took that as, why are you lying to me? Why are you promoting the fact that we've got the files? Here we are. You've got a public relations event going on here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Waving it. Here we go. 12 hours later, MAGA's furious. There's nothing here. You got nothing. Well, it's because there's actually nothing there. And so now what's going to happen is the president is going to release it, or the president signed to release it. The Department of Justice has 30 days to release it, and where they have to keep any classified information out. Well, because that little codicil is in there, once it's released, Democrats are going to scream, well, yeah, they didn't release the Republicans in it. And even if there are no Republicans that are in it, even if it's legitimate classified information, they're also going to say, well, what was Epstein's relation, the whole thing, to intelligence agencies out there in the United States?
Mm-hmm.
So we're not getting the truth, and the Republicans aren't giving you the truth. That's what we're going to hear 30 days from now.
Yeah, it's a never-ending story.
Yeah.
That never had to be. It's a sleeping dog that just won't lie.
Yeah. Oh, it was Trump that it was. They said what was it? The Trump had messaged.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. They went after Trump with it, and then
Right.
Republicans came back.
Yeah.
It was like, look, there's nothing there, and there was
Right.
nothing there.
Right.
And so, but of course, if it's of importance, but it's been around for such a long time, and the public has basically, I think you hit it right on the button. Public has come to the conclusion that the rich and the elite are not going to be punished for these horrible, evil things that they did, whoever they are.
Right.
They're not going to be punished.
Whatever the truth is, it will never be believed. It may be found. It won't be believed.
Won't be believed.
And whatever they put out may be 100% truthful, won't be believed by enough people to the point that they'll make noise about it, and it will never end.
And because it's in there, well, everything's got to be released unless it's classified. Sorry.
No, once you put an asterisk by any of it, then it's over.
Even if it's legitimate not to release it.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
There has been such a cluster. Number one, Democrats, we know, never wanted to release it in 4 years and didn't care about it, which showed they were scared to death that there are a lot of Democrats on there. You still got Republicans saying, look, when this list comes out, there's going to be a lot more Democrats than there are Republicans on it. I don't know whether that's true or not.
Right.
But the fact is, both parties have given the public the impression that they don't want this to come out or they're hiding something, whether it's true with Republicans or not. But I don't know how else you can do it when you were waving those binders at the White House. We got the binders. We got it. We're finally going to hold these people, these Democrats and these liberal elites, accountable for what they did, and then there's nothing there. And then they come out and go, sorry, there's nothing there. We've looked through all the files. There's nothing there.
The biggest fallout so far has been Prince Andrew and Larry Summers. That's been the biggest fallout of anybody facing the, consequences, if you want to say it that way. And Larry Summers is just basically going to be without a job. He's just going to go off into retirement.
Right.
I don't know that there's anything actionable otherwise. And Prince Andrew is no longer Prince Andrew. He's just Andrew. And that is, I think, what people are. I really don't know what satisfies any side, because there are multiple sides to this. You can't satisfy all of them. There's nothing that will satisfy all of them, regardless of how truthful it may be and how accurate it may be. You're not going to get to the point of full satisfaction. You just won't. So one of the groups is going to be screaming. People will have an objection to it. And the average rank-and-file American has given up any hope of ever getting justice for any of the victims or finding the truth in any of this, because they don't believe they ever will. Because here's the question. What are we supposed to believe?
I mean, you see,
after all of this, what are we supposed to believe?
Yeah. You saw Larry Summers, too. It was a Chinese economist that he was trying to get horizontal with and asking Epstein for advice, and then delivered, as the New York Post says, blow-by-blow updates of his pursuit against a tenured London School of Economics professor and Harvard graduate and daughter of a top associate of President Xi in China. And he was married at the time. That's the part. Now that we know, we'd ask yesterday, well, why is he resigning? If he's just talking about an adult woman, why is he resigning? What is the reason for doing it? Well, now we know. It's
right. Well, when I saw that, I'd also have a concern about any chance that that person is spying for Xi in any way, trying to get information. There's been no one that's made that accusation, but there are so many boundaries that, according to the story, Summers crossed there. It's all out the window, and with him stepping down from basically everything, he's probably just going to ride off into the sunset.
For people who don't know who he is the one that warned Democrats. He warned
on the $1.9 trillion bill.
He was the one that warned, just so you can put into perspective who he is. He's the one that warned Democrats, do not pass that $1.9 trillion bill. You're going to cause massive inflation.
Yep, and it happened.
Yep. We are Red Eye Radio.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. So that's what's going to happen. You know, when I saw it yesterday, it said, okay, now 30 days for the Department of Justice to start releasing the Epstein files, except for things that are classified. And so what's going to happen, they're going to release it, and whatever happens, the Democrats will accuse the Republicans of using the classified, using the classified, what do we call it, rule in there to hide the Republicans.
Yeah.
Whether it's true or not, that's what they're going to say.
Yeah.
They're going to imply that.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, because it's going to be, that's the political football of it. The political football never ends.
Yeah.
You know, you're hiding it just to make the Democrats look bad. You've classified all this just to make the Democrats look bad. And they had 4 years to put it out there, didn't put it out there for for all of those reasons, and reasons that we believe that, of course, it would look bad for them. They wanted that sleeping dog to lie, but that dog isn't sleeping and isn't lying down. It's going to be barking for quite some time.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.